Hello, everyone. This is Greg, and welcome to How to Read Music. This is lesson 01. What's with those lines? Here's a quick note. These first few videos are going to go very slowly and will probably seem pretty repetitive. This is because I'm being careful not to overlook any important details or information. This is simply due to my experience as a teacher. When one of my students is stuck, half the time it's because I forgot to introduce an important bit of information or I haven't reinforced it enough for it to stick and they forgot it. So if it feels like I'm going really slow, that doesn't mean that I think you're not smart enough to go at a faster pace, but what I have found is that if I take my time and make sure to cover everything and I don't miss anything, and I take a little time to kind of go over it a few times to reinforce it, even if you're a 45-year-old brain surgeon, it'll still help you out in the long run. So, let's get on with it. I bet you know what this is. This is called a staff. Even if you've never played music, you've probably seen this and probably know that that is what it's called. And it is the series of lines that we write notes on. It's also the thing that I think makes music look complicated. There's so much ink and so much space being taken up on this page by the staff. If you were to take away those horizontal lines, there'd be a lot more empty space, and I think it would look a little less intimidating. And as a matter of fact, in much older music, this is music, an example from the medieval period, and these aren't even notes. These are what were called neumes, but they kind of were the same concept. On the bottom, you'll see that there's a Latin text or lyrics, and above that, there's these mostly dots and a few lines that kind of indicate what notes you're supposed to sing. The problem was, without a staff, it was a little hard to indicate precisely what notes needed to be sung. So when music became more complex, that's when it became necessary to have a staff to show precisely what note you wanted. Now, usually you see 5 lines in a staff, but you don't have to. You can have a 1-line staff if you want to, and that's not even that weird. If you're playing music for, say, a snare drum or another percussion instrument that only plays one note at a time or one sound at a time, all you need is 1 line to show the 1 note that you're going to be playing. But to introduce the concepts that we'll be needing to know for most music, you'll need at least 2 lines. So here are 2 lines. Now, what might be news to some of you is that with 2 lines, we are actually able to indicate more than just 2 notes. Notice that there is a space in between. So you've got the line and another line and a space in between. That's 3 places that you can indicate. Matter of fact, there are 2 more spaces, one below and one above. So that's 2 more notes, and with the spaces and the line, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes that can be indicated with just these 2 lines. So it's important to recognize that the spaces are also indicators just as much as the lines are. And if I demonstrate, hopefully this will make it a little more clear what I'm talking about. This is a line note. The line, you'll notice, is going right through the middle of the note, this oval-shaped note, and if I move it 1 step down, now it's a space note. It's on the space between the lines. So here is a note which is on the very top space of this 2-line staff. We go down 1 step to the next line, the top line of the staff, down another step to this center space, down another step to this bottom line, and finally to the bottom space. And that's as far as we can. Oh, wait a minute. No, we can actually go a little further. This is called a ledger line. It's no big deal. If you are writing music, or if a composer is writing music, and you have to go lower than the notes that are on the staff, you simply can add your own line. And it shows that you're down 1 step below that bottom space on the staff. So here's a ledger line above the staff. You can do either way, above or below, and notice that it is a line note. See, the line is going right through the middle of the note again. Here is a 3-line staff, so we're Just adding a few things as we go. This is a space note. Notice that it is between the lines. This is a line note. Now here we have a note that is not colored in. You'll find in music that you have filled in notes and open unfilled in notes. It seems really obvious that, of course, this is a line note. Why am I taking the time to even tell you this? Well, because you would be surprised. Going from this to this, that sometimes throws people. Especially when you have one right after the other. People will think that the music is going from a line note to a space note, when in fact it's just going from an open to a filled in note, or vice versa. So this is still a line note. This is a space note, and a line note, and a space note, and a line note. Notice the line going through the middle of the note. And oh, here we've added something that you're probably used to seeing. This is really starting to look like music here. We have added a stem. And for now, in fact, in most of your life, you can ignore the stem. It doesn't really mean much, at least as far as figuring out what the note is. The important part is the head of the note. That is telling us if it is a line note or a space note. This is a space note. Now, I'm bringing this up because you would be surprised how often it is that students have trouble reading because they're looking at the stem, and sometimes I'll be halfway through a lesson and I'll find that someone is confused, and I'll say, wait a minute, you're looking at the stem, aren't you? And they'll say, oh yeah, why? No, you got to look at the head. Look at the note head. Just forget about the stem. So this is a space note. Okay, without the stem, just forget the stem, look at the note head. Okay, space note. And we are back to our original 5-line staff. So let's practice a little bit. Space note. Space note. Line note. Line note. Doesn't matter which way the stem is going. Here's a note with the stem up. Here's a note with the stem down. Nope, doesn't mean a darn thing. Okay, stems go up, stems go down. It makes no difference as far as how you read it or how you play it or how you sing it. Okay, doesn't matter. Stems are, they kind of get in the way sometimes, I think, but they're there, so got to get used to them. Here is a space note on the top of the top space of the staff. This is a line note. This is a space note. This is a line note. I think sometimes the open notes, people assume they're space notes because there's some space there. Conceptually, they get that it's a line note, but when you're trying to read music, because you just have a lot to think about. So practicing this is not a bad thing to do. Line note. Line note. Space note. And that is all for this lesson. I've gone as I promised. I went very, very slowly, covered just a few things, but this will all become very important with our next lesson, which is lesson 02, measuring distance on the staff, which is called intervals. Please feel free to ask me any questions in the comment section or send me a message. Otherwise, go right on up to lesson 02 and we'll learn about intervals. Thanks so much. Goodbye.